hope you're doing well. It is Saturday, last weekend of the January 23. So I hope everyone's doing well and getting nicely started in the new year, lunar year. New start. So I guess a lot of people have said this year is about self-care and bringing comfort to yourself, and I also believe that one way to help yourself is to help others. It brings more happiness. So what's going on? I have had a week, I tell you. My last video was a little comment on suppositions of people thinking that just because I'm a slow progressor, I don't have ALS. Being a slow progressor, and also know 2 cases of ALS are exactly alike, which is nice. I mean, the whole disease is a cruel disease. It sucks. But into this week, it started, I don't know if I was coming down with something, or I wasn't extremely active right before, but I had a week of like full exhaustion. I slept quite a bit, anywhere between 10 to 14 hours, which, it's kind of like sleeping your life away, and I don't want to do that. As long as I can move, I want to be able to move. So, checked, all the different things, started a new medicine for diabetes. For some reason, my hemoglobin A1C was going high, and it's like anything that you can do with inflammation in your body. When you have ALS, you want to reduce that inflammation. I know with some people with autoimmune diseases, they want to eat anti-inflammatory foods. I'm supposed to eat a higher protein diet, but I don't think it was the diabetes medicine. I was worried about that, and I backed down from my gabapentin and my baclofen because I hadn't been having a lot of problems with spasticity. Amazing how medications can mask symptoms, right? Slept. Finally started to wake up mid of the week. Blood sugars were good, blood pressures were good, oxygen levels are good, CPAP is working wonderfully. Just, checking every little things I can, ketones, whatever, my labs were okay. It's just, I don't know if I had caught a little thing from my school-age child. Elementary school kids can be quite the little germ runners. She's very good. Children that have survived the pandemic, washing the hands, they're generally cleaner. But I don't know, it started to wear off about Thursday. I was able to stay up a little bit longer. Yesterday was better, and today, I don't know, I stayed up and I was watching a lot of listening and watching videos. The Murdaugh trial here in the United States is just kind of like a John Grisham book come to life. The South, some of that good old boy network and intrigue. It's just a really bizarre case. So of course I've been watching that trial, even though I was sleeping through some of it. So just kind of, doing that, and actually stayed awake on Friday, and today I woke up. I had some weird dreams last night. So, I worry about the sleep. I know that you have to manage fatigue when you have ALS. You can do things, and that was my biggest thing, is I would always overexert. I would do, pretend like I didn't have ALS, just try to do everything I could. And then I would have a terrible spasticity attack. And that's probably more prominent with the form of the upper motor neuron driven ALS. I do have lower motor neuron different issues, which give me the diagnosis of ALS. But I have a lot of spasticity. I mean, just really stiff. And the stiffness that happens with the spasticity, it's painful. Stiff muscles and that cramping, it's being really, really stiff. You can't quite move like a normal person. It hurts and it sucks, but it masks the weakness of the muscles. So it's like your body trying to, all those little adaptive things trying to keep going. So I have to admire my body for doing that. But I had dreams last night that my legs had atrophied more, which they're starting. You know, you can start seeing, I can see the muscles changing. My husband, of course, you know. Do you like my hair? You gotta love them. But I had a dream that my legs were atrophied and my arms still worked, and I was lifting my legs and just how little they were. And I know that if I do survive to that point, that is what's going to happen, though I may not be able to use my arms. And I woke up with extreme pain in my left hip, and it, you know, it's like a knot. It's like spastic. I was very stiff in my back, my abdominal muscles, my legs. If I wasn't in such a terrible bit of pain, I might have taken a video of me walking, but hard to do when you have balance issues. But took my gabapentin and the baclofen and hot pack, and it started to get a little better. My husband made an appointment, so, you know, I was not feeling good, coming off of a week of sleeping, and I had to go with him. So doing, you know, laundry, you know, take some clothes to wash. And there was one little thing in the laundry room, and I just lost it. You know, screaming, crying. I think that knowing that I've had such a blessing, you know, 37 months of being diagnosed with ALS and still being able to be somewhat productive, not anywhere near what I was, but still being able to do things, but seeing some of the changes that are happening now. And it's, I am definitely more fatigued. I am starting to have more atrophy in my feet. I leaned my weight when we were going out the door on my left foot, and the cramping and just feeling that it was terrible. So my left foot, my these toes don't move quite as well. They're the ones I used to say that they're the ones that have ALS. But I've noticed my feet are getting skinnier. With ALS, you never know how long you have. But the loss of function has been very difficult. You know, it's just, you can do things that make you feel like you're taking Herculean effort. Other people would look at it and go, psst. And when you do really hard to get things done, when something happens, it feels very defeating. But that's just the appearances, you know? It's kind of like you can get all caught up in your brain about diseases and woe is me. Nah, I mean, it sucks. ALS is a cruel, awful disease. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And generally, most people with ALS tend to be nice people. So that sucks. It really does. So I've been watching or listening, you know, watching the trial and listening to the Murdaugh murders. I have got an appointment next week with a pulmonologist to check up on my CPAP, which if you have been diagnosed with ALS, or you do just have sleep, you know, you snore a lot or sleep, that kind of thing, definitely talk to your doctor about getting a sleep test and getting a CPAP. I have, my breathing muscles are pretty strong, so for ALS, that's pretty amazing, right? Pranayamas, yogic breaths. But I was pausing at night, and I tell you, I feel much more rested. It has really made a difference. Even though I've been sleeping so much, but one thing I have been doing is making sure that my diet is good, making sure I'm getting the macros, micros, and the protein. You know, I try to eat, I was told not to go vegetarian, because the protein needs it, need to have. So, I'm trying, I do plant-based, with this Linny and Larry cookies are pretty good. And, my shakes, those are definitely helpful. My appetite, I used to have a lot of lack of appetite. My appetite's been a little bit better, so that's good. But, just making sure you get the nutrition in makes a huge difference in how you function. So I'm thankful. I mean, I was talking to my aunt, and I guess they had somebody at their church that had the bulbar form of ALS, which I have known some people, and I hate that disease because it takes their voices so quickly, and they're swallowing. Before I became retired, I would prefer to say retired versus disabled. Well, of course, some people with disability can actually work and do things. I do lead meditations, and I advocate, but I don't have the stamina to work, nor being a nurse, I can't lift 50 pounds. The amount I can lift is getting smaller and smaller too. It's like you look fine. I look fine until you see me function. And I like to say I keep good face, because, there's points that I don't think anybody, unless you are a PALS or you have a person that you love that has ALS, gets to see some of the suffering with the disease. There's a point where, people get to where they are paralyzed and they can't speak, and they're still exactly who they are inside. And there's some that get a mild form of dementia with it. And you hope that they don't suffer as much either. But the talk of feeding tubes came up with my aunt. And my previous role as a nurse, and, as a nurse, I started out, I think when I graduated back in the 90s, I think I worked at a skilled unit, and I actually had a hall of G-tubers. And then I went to the hospital, worked med surgery, pediatrics, went ER, IMCU, just CCU. I did a lot of different things. Worked ER at the units, and then I went to hospice, went to IV therapy, went back to hospice. I've done a lot in nursing. So retiring was wonderful. In the United States, my heart goes out to all healthcare providers, because through the pandemic, and the way the health system works here is different. And I think that our providers, there's a lot of moral injury out there. There's a lot of stress, corporations that run the hospitals, whether they're profit or not for profit. It's a really difficult thing being a professional. My heart goes out to all of them. That's, they're talking about, well, just meditate. It's like, oh, we should all meditate. You have to, I believe meditation, and I've always said, find your beauty. I think meditation, breath work works really well for people. There's different ways you can hold your breath, and breathing exercises are great if you have ALS. My full belief is if the school of nursing I went through, the nursing theory was by Dorothea Orem. Basically self-care. It's basically, the old use it till you lose it, So breathing and keeping your muscles, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to overexert, but doing that and building that help. And if you are a regular person or with another chronic disease, breathing, if you don't have cardiac or respiratory things, talk to your doctor if you do. Breathing exercises really help, and they can help calm you. Meditation can be of different forms. You can, there's different contemplative practices, prayers, the rosary, the Sufis dance, many Buddhists may chant, may meditate in a different way. The mindfulness meditation isn't a be-all cure. I mean, you have to have a good foundation of it. Yoga helps, but you have to have time in it. You know, it's just, self-care is really important, and how do you do it? You know, myself was understanding, you know, not feeling like I was a bed or couch slug. It's kind of what I was this past week. But, you know, I know that I needed to make sure my nutrition was good and go ahead and rest when I needed to rest. You know, I know that meditating with my Sangha is important for me, and taking that time out to journal is important. Having good conversations with the people I love, good friends, that's really important. You know, it's kind of the cruel wickedness of ALS is you can be very tired and you can be very fatigued, and it's difficult to make it to all the events and to make those contacts. So that's something I realized with everything going on with my family, my sister being sick, and, you know, boy, last year was a year. Started with my mom, then, you know, everything else that happened. But, you know, I kind of shied away from some of the groups. You know, it's kind of, they had, my ALS Association of Texas did have a group. They had, you know, the on my side of town with the pandemic, that kind of stopped. They now do have they're getting back to doing a Houston group, which is where I live, which is nice. You know, I Am ALS has more regular groups, which is nice. Team Gleason, I just have to say, I absolutely admire Steve Gleason, and Team Gleason is an awesome, awesome group. They do amazing things for people with ALS, you know, not only chairlifts like I got, and the voice recording like they helped me with. You know, I have my little, just a second. I have my little Zoom, which is a really cool little thing. So this kind of makes it so you don't, you know, make it things, but I'm recording my voice and like little laughs and different things I've done. And I have my artificial voice in case I lose my voice. But they've helped me with that. You know, they help automate people with ALS's homes. They've gifted trips before people get worse. And they're really wonderful. I think in April, they're going to have a walk or roll in New Orleans. I'm going to try to see if I can get there. You know, it just depends on how I'm feeling and everything else I had to do. Yeah, so it's been kind of a very, would you say self-care, or very, I'm not sure if it's progression or if it's getting a little sick and my body responds that way, which, you know, the spasticity getting so bad, besides, you know, trying to avoid medications that are sedating. I was told by my neurologist that spasticity and symptoms can worsen if you have an infection. So taking my vitamin C, eating some garlic, drinking lots of water. Hey, you know, I've enjoyed it. You know, it's kind of boring. Sorry, it's not a great, exciting video. Truly, honestly, you know, a lot of excitement, while it can be fun, the kind of excitement that I've had lately, it's kind of like, let's get a little calmer. So I was talking about meditation. I don't know if you're interested in it. I don't know. I mean, you can find it. I think it has helped me. I know some people pray, some people listen to music, some people write, some people read, some people walk. You know, those can all be different meditative forms. But if you know, it's not going to be an end-all be-all. It's an actual practice. It's kind of like riding a bike. The more you do it, the better you get. I know that through everything that I've been through, I've been able to come down to baseline quicker. And I got an email from the MSBR, which is mindfulness stress reduction course that I went through. How are you doing? It's like, do I really want to tell them? But I think that all the layers of meditative work that I've done and my spiritual growth and practice have really helped. I don't know, just, it's kind of like, how they say managing expectations. If you look at expectations for ALS, that's kind of grim, right? I think managing my perspectives while I'm going through this is important. And yes, I will have days like I did today and have meltdowns. Cry, and yell and get angry and throw angst at what's not there. It's good that I've expressed emotions. Not what the kind I want to live on, but they came out. I guess that's part of grief. It's losing function. There's a grief to that. Losing parts of what you can do. There's grief to that. I'm grieving in other ways, losing family members. But also grieving that what has happened with my disease, that's really hard. It's like, I don't know, when you have to think about your gait so unsteady, and my husband still has to put the ramp for my power chair, got everything there, but it's like getting to the mailbox and not being able to do that, it's like when, my thoughts are, what's going to happen when I'm unable to use my legs with my ADLs, activities of daily living. That's scary. It's like, kind of like what's going to happen when I can't swallow anymore. The conversation with my aunt, her friend that had bulbar, that went to her church, lived for a while. I think that the people I've seen that have the bulbar form of ALS tend to die quicker. May there be somebody that lived 10 years with that. I hope there are. But I have decided that when I can't swallow, I am not going to put a feeding tube in. Yes, some people may, and if you want to, more power to you, do it. For me, I don't think it's the right choice. I have really sensitive skin. I have a lot of acidity, so I can just imagine the skin around my stoma would be irritated. I've also decided not to be trached. I'll do non-invasive breathing. It's like the CPAP form I have with the nasal pillows, just outside here, not the ones that go in your nose, but out there, it goes around and you have a little thing on your top of your head. That will, I'll do BiPAP and AVAP. I'll do that, non-invasive, but, if I stop being able to eat, that's called natural death. I mean, grim, huh? No, I am not depressed. I promise you that. But when you sleep a whole week and then you have a hard time moving around, you start thinking about this when you have ALS. It really does kind of, that. So, but it's all about perspective. I have to think about it. My dad, my uncle, I'm not going to name them because, keep their privacy. Two of my uncles that had ALS and my dad all lived 18 months. So I've doubled it so far. But they all right when you thought they'd get worse, that's when they died in their sleep. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen to me. Dark thoughts, right? Maybe I should be watching crime, the Murdaugh killings. Oh, it's just so bizarre. I mean, just so bizarre. So the family had been in South Carolina along the low country. Solicitors or district attorneys working with the police forces for like over 100 years. Lots of money. Truly the good old boy things. But it's kind of like here in Houston. There's multiple wealthy areas, but there's one in particular called the River Oaks in downtown Houston. I remember it used to be from the old timers that it was a little bit of a distance out from the city center. It's like 6 miles. But I have had friends that were there, and there are quite some interesting personalities, and they even have their own little police force in the neighborhood. Back in the 90s, Houston was a little bit more dangerous. You know, we had a TV show called City Under Siege. And even if you look at it now, if you see anything, if you looked at the Houston news or you see anything that comes out of Houston, thankfully no one died in the tornadoes this week. An EF3 went through outside of the suburbs of Houston. It's kind of like Dallas weather was transported to Houston. It was coming towards us, and it's like, oh no, oh no, oh no. My little one was in elementary school, and they made them shelter in place. They brought them somewhere. And I was watching the weather, get the alerts. It's like, we just had this last week or the week before. You know, it's like, I did not move to the Panhandle. I did not move into Tornado Alley. Why is this happening? But thankfully, we haven't lost any power. You know, that's something that I need to get a letter from my doctor to make sure that you can get a letter and submit it to the about needing power, and if you have any medical equipment, that you can get to the light company. We'll put you on a list to get repairs quicker. You know, I strategically, when we bought this house, if you have the opportunity and you're moving, if you live in an area that has severe storms or any of that issue, move near a hospital or a fire department. You will be on the list to get power quicker. Yeah, that was something. In Texas, we have something called STEAR, STEAR registration. So it gives you the notice if you are a disabled person, and ALS qualifies me for that. I like to say broken. I don't like to say disabled. I like to say broken. Little things break. You know, some things you can heal. ALS is not something at this point you can heal. You know, my hope is in the future you will be able to at least maintain. But the STEAR is in case of any severe weather here in Texas, that they know where you are, who you are, what you may need. Now, if anything happens anywhere, to be honest, I wouldn't trust the government to help. Yes, I live in Texas. If you knew the politics, you'd know why. But volumes not said. But having that is kind of a backup. At least people check on you. They let you know things going ahead. It's just a good idea. You know, it's for services if you need them. You know, we will, at this point, I can still move to get in. If I get stuck in the power chair, oh my gosh, those vehicles. It's like the pandemic really did a number. Everything got just more expensive, and we're all living through it. Cutest meme I saw was eggs with like a security tag on it. But it's a pandemic avoided. Last thing we needed was an outbreak of avian or bird flu. No, enough, it's enough. But the power chair will be nice, and I have a nice lift so I can raise up. Thank you to Team Gleason. But getting a vehicle for it's quite expensive, and the prices just keep going up. So I'll probably be using cabs. You know, it's what you can do right now. You know, it's like, at least I can maneuver around, and I do have a transport wheelchair. So those just aren't as comfortable. And while I can sit up and I'm not paralyzed that way, after, you know, I was crying and all that, you know, can you believe? I seem so calm, don't I? But my husband hugged me. He was really sweet. And the worst thing about ALS and being spastic is even though you want that comfort, you want that hugged, you're so stiff it hurts. You can't melt into another person. You're kind of like, ah, this hurts. Isn't that mean? That's just a mean disease. But, so that's what's going on. I mean, I have some plans later this month. Gonna do my advocacy. Go to the Capitol. You know, talk with lawmakers. Valentine's Day is coming. I just think about I have 2 nieces and a cousin that has birthdays in February, and a good friend. So just little things that, you know, thinking about little presents. You know, my granddaughter is 2, and she is so precious. She loves dressing up as Anna. And my little 3-year-old niece from my baby sister is going to be 3. And my other niece from my sister that passed, she was born 2 days before my sister, and she's going to be turning her age. I'm not going to, having to keep things private because I just think it's nicer. I mean, they'll know who they are if they see the video. But, you know, have another friend and my cousin, and she's going to be a birthday month. Have another friend that I don't think she has her birthday this year. Don't you love those leap year babies? Yeah. I don't know, if you were a leap year baby, would you count your age every 4 years, or would you count your age every time February turned into March? I don't know. So Valentine's Day, it's a nice day. I mean, I think you should celebrate love all the time, you know? But, you know, for the romantic love, for the people that you love, Hallmark's a holiday. But it's nice. I mean, you know, I mean, there's gnomes for everything now. I know, I've gotten a thing for gnomes. I don't know why, but I do. I don't know. My little one is a painter, and she's been painting little hearts for her friends, which is so sweet. So sweet. I just love seeing her. You know, I can't paint the way I used to. It's the fine motor I'm losing a lot of. I tell you, texting is so awful. My husband said, why don't you turn your phone to the side and it's bigger? Because I have kind of, you know, I have small, short, stubby fingers, and I can't quite hit all the time, so I'm always like recorrecting. And if you try to talk to Siri, I swear sometimes she doesn't like me. Her and Alexa. It may be the pace that I talk. But those conversations, you ever done that and then everything's turning that's like, I swear to you, no, I don't have dementia, and yes, I do speak English. It's terrible. Kind of embarrassing. But turn it to the side while you can still do it. It works a little bit better. But painting, you know, it's like a year ago I was painting things and I kept trying to correct. It's like when you have the inner art critic that's really mean, it's kind of hard to do it. So maybe I'll just finger paint. My daughter was doing that. She's just a truly, both of them are amazing that I have, but my little one, it seems like when she has a lot of stress, you know, she puts it out with creating things. And that's something that I've kind of encouraged as I got diagnosed and that. But yeah, I mean, I talked to my oldest about my concerns about progression and what I've been going through. And thankfully, Team Gleason has a support group for adult children of people with ALS. So I sent her that information if she wants to. My youngest, you know, talking with a close friend, I'm probably going to find a counselor for her, just because we've lost so many people. You know, it's like when you lose your aunt, you lose your grandma. She didn't really know my uncles as well, but those are major people in your life. And then seeing your mom going through this disease, I just want to make sure she has the support she needs. So I'll be calling around trying to find someone that, hey, that she can talk to, you know? I mean, seeing my nieces. Now my brother-in-law and my sister that passed, you know, really did a good idea of, you know, the financial taken care of after you pass. It's just the emotional part of it, you know, there's always hope with cancer. You know, there's always hope that you'll get better. You know, is it a blessing that I know that there's hope in the future for them, for people to have a treatment that prolongs? You know, do I hope there's a cure? I really do. You know, think about it. Back in the day, when you'd have strokes, you know, that was my first nursing job. Had a lot of strokes. We didn't have TPA. We didn't have medication that burst the clots. So you had a lot of people that were, you know, fully disabled, aphasia, not able to talk, you know, fed by G-tube or PEG tube, and were bedbound and contracted. That has really changed with strokes when TPA came out, ADAPACE, and, you know, the brain has been, you know, the clot's out and the brain gets the blood to it, and with good physical therapy, good maintenance drugs, better drugs, kind of like heart patients, you know, it's like just seeing how much cardiology and, you know, what goes into neurology has helped. I really hope that neurological diseases like ALS, Parkinson's, and Huntington's get some help. Alzheimer's, you know, there's got to be some cures. You know, there's got to be some ways that we learn how to preserve our nervous systems. You know, my little theory on dive down, get the meditation, get in counseling, take that trauma off. You know, it's like, take care of yourself. You know, all the things you can do that aren't medicine. I do take my vitamins. You know, Dr. Appel has a list: vitamin D3, folic acid, vitamin E, if your liver's okay, melatonin, vitamin C, just all, you know, so I take all the vitamins. You know, I'm really, L-sartan, I take that. I went to Costco and they have this Kuno, so I'm taking, it's actually lovely. It's turmeric. It has a little bit of black pepper and it doesn't have sugar in it. It's a really lovely one, and instead of like throwing actual turmeric and all in the black pepper in my shakes, I just take it as a little shot. So it's supposed to help with joints. You know, I don't have arthritis, I have ALS. You know, when I have spasticity, it's my muscles that hurt. Of course, as I was explained, that as ALS progresses, the nerves that are, the motor neurons that are deteriorating cause atrophy in the muscles, which causes stress on the bones and on the joints. So you can have joint pain, you can have bone pain, but it's an anti-inflammatory, so hopefully it helps the nerves. So still in the post phase 1, I did feel better on the medicine. So now I'm kind of like that resty, sleepy stuff I remember, and that's why I got off the medical marijuana, because it's Texas, you know. You know, I'm even surprised they have medical marijuana, but it's extremely low dose, and the form they have is very sedating. So I do CBD, you know, things that'll help relax. But I found that it's medical marijuana, which is 1-to-1 for THC and CBD, and I think all the plantanols, all the other stuff, you know, the whole plant. I believe in the whole plant. I didn't notice that much of a change, and with this form, it made me sleepier, so I don't do it as often. And you know, it's like, I don't want to sleep my life away. I'm already tired enough at times, and I have to watch the spoon theory, you know. Realize I only have so many spoons. Don't, you know, leave all the spoons out and not have one you need, right? There's a gentleman on YouTube that talks about the spoon theory. Wish I could remember who he was. But, you know, you have only spoons: brushing your teeth, washing your face, taking a bath, eating breakfast, eating lunch. Everything takes a spoon. So you have to manage how many spoons that you are given each day. which I think everybody, I don't even think that you have to have ALS or a chronic disease. Everybody, you know, we can do so much, and then we burn candles at both ends, and then what do we have? You know, this self-care is important. You are important. But I can tell you a key to happiness is helping other people. It takes a brick off your back. That's why I was a nurse, and I really enjoy it. That's why I facilitate meditations for people that are suffering. It makes me feel better. You know, it's that silly things. You know, I think speaking out for people that have suffered violence, you know, my story is quite very personal, and this is my ALS story. I'll be speaking out next week with Gun Violence Survivor Week, but you know, I'm going to back up those little kiddos and the families from Uvalde and other people. So, you know, from love. Can't save everybody, but we just need some common sense. And I don't have any opinions whether you have a gun or you don't. That's not my business. You know, I just like people. So I know, can you believe I still like people? I find that I need to have more socialization. That's something that is needed. If you have a disease that is chronic, that is terminal, that is physical or mental, it's hard to be isolated. So make sure you find a community. Make sure you find somebody that you can talk to, whether it is a friend, a family member, in a group setting. You know, just keep talking. You know, find a connection. You know, it's like you would never know how much what you're going through may help another person. You know, so that's what's going on. Just a bunch of nothing, but isn't that nice? It really is. Yeah, I'm progressing in ALS. And no, I'm not going to be a dancing monkey or a circus monkey. You know, as the disease progresses, you guys are going to be able to see it. This is more, you can't see my sleeping. It'd be very boring to take a video of somebody sleeping. Nor can I show my spasticity. You know, I'm not deformed. I'm not one of those people that have had a stroke or a spinal cord injury, but I'm stiff. I've got a hard back. And I'm just a little bit weaker, and it's kind of like a little thing. It's like you power down a little bit, you know? You might burn bright, but you power down a little bit. And losing those little bits, it's like walking and little bits of skin come off of you, like a shell. And you keep walking, but you might notice, hey, that happened, or hey, that happened. And sometimes it can overwhelm you. And it's okay to cry. If you have to cry, you can cry. You know, you can be gentle on yourself, you know. Yeah, I have an inner voice, you know, inner critic, and I try to have my inner critic be nicer to me. You know, I was talking to my counselor and found out some people don't have inner critics. I'm like, wow, I can't even imagine that. Of course, somebody that doesn't have it would be like, wow, I can't even imagine having one. So, interesting. Yeah, so that's what's going on. You know, this February is going to go by fast. This month has gone by fast. Wow, 2023 is already going by fast. I mean, yes, there's been a lot of ugly things that have happened, but there's probably been a lot of beautiful things that happened too. It's all a balance. It's all about perspective. You know, I would say manage your expectations. I really don't have many expectations. I have to manage my perspective, because falling into the woe is me is never something I want to do, you know. But everybody gets there, you know. You just can't stay there. You can't stay, I have this disease. This disease is me. No. you'll get sicker that way, quicker that way. You can be honest about it. I mean, you know, it's like, yeah, this sucks. I mean, I, for times have, what would you say, disassociated? You know, not really, but not really avoided, but I did not acknowledge some of the things as well. So I think this time of rest and, you know, the winter time, the grieving time, you know, this time that I've been going through, you know, it's kind of like, you know, of course, the ALS like to rear its head right now. So sleeping, spasticity, but my appetite's better, so that's good. I don't know, it sucks. It just sucks. I would like to be able to get hugs and be able to melt in them, not feel like someone's hurting me by, you know, it's like, it's being just so stiff. It's like my back and my body, my shoulders don't move that way when I'm having a spastic attack. You know, being a spaz. You know, I'm sure that is essentially unacceptable now, but oh well. So that's what's going on. It's just been kind of boring. Sorry, this is probably not an exciting video, but that's it. I mean, it's gonna get better. And you know, that's, if anything, you know, is when things are not doing so great, when things are hard, you know, the only thing that'll happen, the only guaranteed thing to happen, and the only thing you can truly expect, things change. And that can be really good and that can be hard. So find your perspective on it. Yeah. So that's that. I mean, just life. And I have to be grateful that I have each day that I have what I have. And even though there's this big horrible thing that is happening, and while some things are okay, and I'm doing the processing of last year, and while other processes are happening, you know, I was told that after any of the clinical trials that you do with ALS, you can rapidly progress after you stop the medications, which I was told that by a neurologist. It's common. So if you have ALS and you are thinking about the clinical trials, you can be a very brave soul and do that, but know that you put a risk on your life. So being, 37 months in? No. October, 39 months in. I am still a unicorn and very blessed that I'm slow progressing and still having mainly open motor neuron symptoms. I can see the heading of things to happen and I can feel them in my body. So hopefully it stabilizes. Hopefully I pop up. But it's kind of like my sister, you know, brain cancer this summer, and she got better. And then, phew, she went down and died, you know, so it's like, I don't want to continue that. I don't want to do that. I mean, the rest of the family, we got to have some healing, you know. Talked with my baby sister, no more deaths for a couple of years, but you can't actually guarantee that. So, yeah, no, I'm not depressed, you know, just big things happening, you know. Big things have happened, going through a big process, stopping and smelling the flowers. Well, there's not many flowers right now because it's kind of winter, but they will come, you know. We're having the showers, flowers will come. Plant some for the butterflies so I can see the butterflies come around. Yeah. Actually, my biggest thing is I want a peach tree. My other peach tree died. I want another peach tree. You know, one area of yard that I think somebody's oak tree is stealing all the water, so I need a peach tree and plant it in another part of the yard. Yeah. So good things are gonna happen. You know, this next couple months should have more exciting things and videos, and I will try to take you guys along with my little trip again. And well, I'm going to go a couple places, so I'll take you guys with me for a couple places. We'll just see how it runs. But thank you for watching this, and thank you for being here. And you know, for my subscribers, I appreciate you so very much, and I appreciate all your comments. You've made a big difference to me. Thank you. Walking on this journey. And if you're not subscribed, consider doing it. And I hope you have a beautiful day, and manage your perspectives. That's what I'm doing. Trying to, you know, take the own medicine. Find something beautiful. You know, if you look at the cracks, all you're going to see are the cracks. If you try to find the beauty, you'll just find more beauty. All right. Take care. All right.